Why is the #1 book the hottest in the world? I can't figure it out. Let's talk about it. The hottest comic books in the world. They're spiking, and we're here to tell you why. And we got Gem Mint on the line.
I mean, that's what we do. We're trying to figure out why these books are making the hot list. Coming in at number 10, we have Incredible Hulk 340, that classic Todd MacFarlane cover, one that we haven't talked about since he did his private signing at CGC.
This is not only an iconic cover, it's been voted multiple times as one of the best comic covers of all time. There are only 3 9.9s that exist, 967 9.8s, and that's an increase of 25 copies added to the census since we chatted about this last November 14th of 2022. In fact, since then, there's been an increase of a total of 438 copies added to the census.
Yeah, that's crazy, creeping up on 9,500 total graded slabs, and then the signature series have increased dramatically. We went from just 1,239 to over 2,000 signature series books by Todd MacFarlane, so we could be seeing those hit the market now.
Let that sink in. That is over 800 signed books of this comic alone. Imagine how many signatures he had to have done. The 8.0 is selling for $169. That's an increase of 7%. The 8.5 selling for $199. That's 12%. The 9.4 and 9.6 are both up 3% when you compare them over their recent 12-month average. The 9.4 hitting $275. The 9.6 hitting $450. That's a lot of copies that came out from CGC. I suspect that the supply being up with Wolverine, Deadpool spec on high, these books are available and they're being bought now.
And we got to give some love to that newsstand 9.8 that sold for $3,800, maintaining actually a little bit above that average, about 4%.
You got to prep for these signings well in advance, and I encourage the community to make their lives easier by downloading the best comic app in existence to learn about funny books and to consider what books you should ship down to CGC, because I suspect that's what's going on with number 9 on the list. Utilize code TOM101. You support the show, but unlock a free 2-week subscription. You're going to want to do an artist search for not just Todd MacFarlane, but Alex Ross. Number 9 on the list, Batman, Harley Quinn, number 1.
An iconic Alex Ross cover, square-bound book, and the first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn in DC continuity. A lot going for it and a lot on the census too. If you want to pick one of these up, there are 2,862 to choose from, and that includes 1,300 9.8s.
The heights this book reached during the comic boom of 2021 was $1,130. 9.8s are trending far below that. However, I'm seeing an uptick largely because of the Alex Ross signing as mentioned, but also there's a lot of spec on Harley Quinn.
We've since got confirmation that Lady Gaga will be portraying Harley Quinn in the Joker sequel alongside of Joaquin Phoenix. We have a 9.0 selling for $275, 48% above the 12-month average. The 9.4 selling for $280, that's 31% above. The 9.6 selling for $335, 25% above. And the 9.8 selling for $780, 21% above its 12-month average.
We've even seen some Lady Gaga pictures surface of her as Harley Quinn, not to mention the rumors that James Gunn may still reprise Margot Robbie's role for what could be a live-action show. A lot going for this character, and this is a beloved cover, renowned, iconic, and a great one to own, regardless of any spec.
The submission deadline is Friday, April 14th for that Alex Ross signing, so make sure to get your books in order. Moving on to number 8, we have another classic book that needs no introduction. It's ASM 50, the first appearance of Kingpin.
John Bernthal's reprisal of The Punisher spiked up so many books last week. We saw upwards of 25% of the trending 20 be Punisher keys, team-ups alone. Let alone the fact that Punisher goes up against the Kingpin numerous times, and with Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role for Daredevil Born Again, a multi-episodic series, members are hunting for a classic ASM key.
I'm looking forward to seeing Kingpin again in the upcoming Echo series, and it looks like some other collectors are as well. A 5.0 selling for $1,179, 8% above the 12-month average. 6.0 going for $1,425, 3% above. An 8.5 going for $4,600, 2% above. And then another 8.5 going for $5,100, 13% above its average.
And no pun, this book has had an amazing drop. 9.6 heights were reached at $66,000 when the rumors began circulating that we may see Vincent D'Onofrio as early as Hawkeye. That came and went, as did the price, because as of November 2022, a year later, 9.6 has hit $31,200, near half Hot damn.
Definitely a good time to buy. As we move on to number 7 on the list, we have Crime SuspenStories, issue 19, a book that used to come up on the runners-up list.
Golden Age comics don't come up often. It takes multiple sales to rank on our Hot 10, and that's why we traditionally see Gold end up on the runners-up list on Key Collector Comics. However, this is a classic key that had multiple record breakers. A 2.5, which prior sold in November for $360, is up 11%. That's hitting $400 this past week. The 4.0, $456 back in September, up 54%, now selling for an all-new record of $700, and it didn't stop there. A 6.0, rather, the same 6.0 that sold in 2021 for $1,150 had an increase of 74%. That's a sale for $2,000. And we also saw a 7.5. Last selling in 2014 for $347. No surprise, we saw a monster uptick of over 300%, where it landed at $1,440. There's a lot of cold books on the marketplace, a lot of dips, but it's not necessarily happening during this era of books. The gold is still pricey.
The reason why this book usually lands on the runners-up list and not the Hot 10 is because of scarcity. There's only 112 slabs on the CGC census, and this book is famous for being used in the seduction of the innocent book that would lead to the Comics Code Authority.
The code was put in place to prevent comics like this from being created. Clearly, we have a hyper-violent cover, but the interiors are just as problematic. A man commits muck duck and poisons his wife and is able to avoid capture, remains innocent because he pours the poison down the drain.
Bringing us to number 6, back on the list, we have the Sentry, issue number 1, the first appearance of the Sentry. No new news since we spoke about this last week, but we still have some strong sales to report on.
Stephen Yun news began circulating last week, spiking Sentry books up because he is going to be part of the Thunderbolts. But will he be the lead antagonist? Will he be the anti-Superman that they were casting 4 months ago? Well, that's pushed this book up mightily over the last week, and it's still going up. The 9.2 sold for $125, an increase of 10% when you compare it over the last 12 months. The 9.6 hit $205, 18% over, and the 9.8 hit $405. This book was trending under $400 all year long.
The San Diego Comic-Con exclusive had 2 sales, both up 7% above its 12-month average, the 9.4 selling for $135 and the 9.8 selling for $300.
We saw an increase of 11 copies added to the census since we talked about this book last week when it ranked at number 5 on the hot list, making the total 9.8 count of the standard copy hit 473. That's an increase of 5 9.8s since last week. Hot damn. Now, everybody knows I'm giving away this House of Secrets 92 during my MegaCon coverage, so join me on Whatnot. But April's mystery mail call, which is officially open for enrollment, we have a House of Secrets 92 trade dress, alt perspective Gabriel Del Otto variant going out, 1 per box. ComicTom101.com to join the community. The box is $35 plus shipping, and that's not the only variant we have planned going out.
I got it in foil. Can't wait for that retro trade dress. As we move on to number 5 on the list, it's been a minute. Something is Killing the Children, issue 1.
First appearance of Erica Slaughter, James Tynion goodness. We have a comic book that's beloved, one of the best independent reads of our generation. And we got word back in April 2021, inside sources told Key Collector Comics that this was headed to the screen. But since then, it's been in creative limbo and has seen a full refresh of the creative team. But we have gotten updates as of the last couple weeks that Something is Killing the Children is indeed still slated to have a Netflix adaptation.
2,667 total slabs on the CGC census. That's 14 more than when this book was on the trending list 2 weeks back. We got the Jenny Frison New York Comic-Con exclusive, limited to 500 copies, in a 9.8, sell for $679, 22% above its 12-month average. The third printing in a 9.6 sold for $110, that's 5% up. The 9.8 in that third print selling for $291, 33% above its average.
The second print, CGC 9.8, hit $490, where it was trending under $400 all year long. That's an increase of 29%. Then we have the 9.6, first printing, hit $684, where it was trending under $500 all year long. That's an increase of 66%. And then we have the first printing 9.8. It sold for $818. That's 11% over its recent 12-month average, and it didn't stop there. There were a total of 8 copies that outsold the prior average cost of this book all year long.
I, for one, cannot wait to see what they do with a Something is Killing the Children adaptation. And if we want to see what a TV show can do for a comic book, look no further than number 4 on the list, The Last of Us, American Dreams, issue number 1.
Just over 6,000 copies exist of this comic book, and we see the numbers coming in prior to the season finale, but we're filming this post-season finale, which was excellent. They did exactly what I was hoping for, and they have already set them up for more to do because they have season 2 already slated and a rumored third game in production.
If Walking Dead has taught me anything, I think we'll still see a dip after this season finale and then a rise coming up towards season 2 and the third video game. We do have a CGC 9.4, the variant, selling for $300, 24% above its 12-month average. The third printing and a 9.6 selling for $195, 13% above its average. And then we have the regular cover, 8.0 selling for $295, 36% above its 12 months. We have two 9.6s, the first selling for $590, the second selling for $650, 26% above its average, and then the CGC 9.8 going for $1,450, 16% above its average.
The record high was achieved weeks ago where it hit $1,700. Now, members are getting it for just a couple $100 shy, but there's also not a huge availability of this book. There's a total of 87 copies graded at a 9.8. 8 copies have been added since we chatted about this book last, which was February 27th. And since then, 2 new 9.8s have been added to the census.
Moving on to number 3 on the list, I'm not sure why we're seeing so many sales. It's a great book, Iron Man 1, big premiere issue from 1968. And shout out to Bryce Comics, who's got a beautiful 9.8.
This is the first ongoing title featuring Iron Man, and we also have the origin of Tony Stark in this issue. And this book has also seen some pretty steep drops. The 9.6, in which there's an increase of 1 copy added since we chatted about this last, which was November 7th of 2022, had record heights reached July of the same year for $12,356, but the last GPA sale was November of last year for $8,700.
The book, like many others, are down right now, a little bit down from when we last reported on it, but still performing above its 12-month average, starting with the 3.0, selling for $494, that's 12% above. The 4.0 selling for $565, that's 10%. The 5.0 selling for $690, 3% above, and the 6.5 selling for $908, 5% above that average.
The 7.0 sold for $1,450. That's up 28% when you compare it to that 12-month.
Why do you think Iron Man is so hot this week? Let us know in the comments down below as we move on to number 2 on the list. I think we know why this one's hot. Omega Men 3, baby, the first appearance of Lobo.
I love seeing this book on the list because we have no new news besides James Gunn anticipation. You know, we expect him to reveal more things because he's admitted as of last week that he's only revealed half of the DC slate. Well, is it because of Jason Momoa? Is it because of James Gunn? I think that is definitely the case, but it also could be the fact that in the last 2 weeks, there's been an update of 76 slabs added to the CGC census and a total of 27 of which graded at a 9.8.
We have a record-breaking sale in an 8.5 selling for $125 in 2020, up 27%, now selling for $159. The 9.0 selling for $100, 22% above its 12-month average. The 9.4 selling for $125, that's 19% above. Then we have a 9.6 selling for $180, 25% above.
Now, clearly members are getting excited because we just reported on an 8.5 that sold for more than a 9.0 and a 9.4. That's why we make these videos. Yes, FOMO is real, but be patient on the lower grades. You can get them cheaper. The 9.8 saw a $400 sale. That's 19% over its recent 12-month average. In fact, 6 copies sold this past week that outpaced that 12-month average. Like and subscribe. Comic fam, we're here every single week for the Comic Familia. We've been making this video for, 3 years straight now, Jem?
It's been a minute.
The #1 hottest book in the cosmos. What's it doing here? I've stared at this cover for so long. I can't figure it out. We have All-Star Comics issue number 58. The first appearance of Power Girl. Hot damn.
Now, Power Girl is Kara Zor-El, and we did see a Supergirl in the Flash trailer, and plus James Gunn is crazy enough to bring this character to life. I think fans are onto something here, and the sales reflect that as well. An 8.5 selling for $304, 76% above its 12-month average. The 9.0 is up 21%, selling for $280. The 9.4 is up 71%, selling for $600, and the 9.6 is up 19%, selling for $685.
Now, clearly we have Supergirl in the Flash trailer, not Power Girl, but we do have a Supergirl movie that's coming, which is going to be focused on the Tom King run. We're already seeing a doppelganger of Ezra Miller, which may be the Reverse Flash, and we have a major shakeup happening in the DCU. So it makes sense that we may see alternate versions of characters from different Earths, much like the multiverse that's happening over at Marvel. Now we have a 9.8 that's selling for $2,295 this past week. That is 1% over its recent 12-month average. And when we see a book meet or exceed even 1%, that means collectors are indeed after it.
Power Girl can be found in the current pages of Action Comics. She's got a new set of powers that she's obtained from Lazarus Planet. But what else is it? Why is Power Girl the #1 character, the hottest comic book in the world? Let us know in the comments below.
Could it be the renewed focus on the Superman family in Action Comics? Could it be the Will Jack covers? We want to know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always.
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said. Comic fam, all weekend long at MegaCon, I'm dropping comic books on the floor, but not like on the ground, on the floor of the convention, on Whatnot, the best new place to buy and sell collectibles, for $4. I don't think that's ever been done at a convention, selling store variants that are low print for basically cover price. Some below cover price. Use the link in the description. After your first $10 purchase or more, you get a $10 credit. You support the show, but this is a convention you don't want to miss. So don't miss it. You don't even have to fly out there or get a hotel. Come join me on the app and have a great weekend. See you soon.